And welcome to the Daily Spell. I am Reverend Mary Hawk, and my guest tonight is Kare of Kare Reiki. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Mary. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm glad you could join me tonight. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. As you said, my name's Kare. I have a business called Kare Reiki. I do many other things besides Reiki, but it started as just a Reiki business in 2015 and quickly grew to where I now do tarot card readings, mediumship, all kinds of things. So that is what I do.
I'm so glad you could join us tonight. And hello to everyone who is joining us at if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and post your questions in the comments. We'll be happy to answer them. And what deck do you use, Care?
I am using tonight I have the Radiant Rider Waite
Okay.
Classic.
Classic. How is the Radiant White Rider Waite different? Is it just the drawing or the
Um,
color?
I think the coloring is a little bit different and the back is different. I don't know if you can see it quite.
I can see the back.
Yeah, the coloring is maybe just a little bit different. I've got the miniature deck in front of me, just a little,
Oh,
just hued a little bit different than the other deck, which I have the other one also.
okay. Hello, Renee. And Renee is asking for a general reading, and I am working with the Infinite Tarot as usual because it literally put my other decks in timeout. It hid them from me for a while. I could not find them. Okay, Renee. So I'm getting shuffled up here. Fun fact about me, my hands are kind of small for shuffling. All right. So the first card I get for you is the Four of Pentacles, Renee. Trying to keep the glare off. And this is talking about being in a pretty good position financially. You're able to share things, but you might also be reevaluating a bit. And the next card I get is the Ace of Swords. And this card is about action. So, whatever your situation is, you need to take action. The only wrong move you can make at this point is to do nothing. And finally, we've got strength. So, even if you don't believe it, you have within yourself the strength and the other resources to deal with your situation. So, whatever is going on, think about it and then take action.
Okay, I'm gonna go now. Okay. So the first card I got, Renee, was Temperance. To me, temperance is all about balancing things right now. I feel like things are a little out of balance. And so you need to bring things back into balance in life for yourself, whether that's work, your work life versus your social life, things like that. So we want to bring things back into balance. And I also feel like, Renee, you have a guide that's coming through here. Like, I don't know if you resonate with angels, but I feel like there's an angel guide coming through for you tonight. Just to remind you that you have a guide around you. The other card that comes out for me is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is a little bit guarded. So you're looking at things a little bit guarded, trying to see where your path is and trying to move forward. The other card I have is the Ten of Wands. Renee, I caution you not to take on too much. At this time, as you can see, you might be carrying too much. I don't know if it's very difficult for you to say no to people, not to take on something else. But look after your own emotional health right now, Renee, and try not to overburden yourself. Okay.
Okay, Renee, I hope you find that useful. And does anybody else have a question for us? And sorry about the dog barking. Hella got excited.
What's her name? Your dog?
Hella.
Hella. I love that. How do you spell that?
Hella.
Perfect.
Her name is Hella because she was originally my grandkids' dogs.
Oh,
You are very welcome, Renee.
you're welcome,
And
Renee.
when they got her, Thor Ragnarok had just come out, and they were fascinated with the goddess Hela.
There you go. That's cool. It's a great
And I wound up with her because their landlord said they couldn't keep her.
Oh, no. Thank goodness for you, Mary.
Yes.
Thank goodness for you.
Yeah. So. And this is why I am supporting my son-in-law and saying the eldest grandkid can't have a snake, because darned if I want the snake.
Good point. Good point. No pets that I don't want in my house, right? In case they end up here.
Yeah. If the current landlord is anti-snake, well, I'm anti-snake too.
And it's funny because I have my daughter's dog. So there you go. That's how that happens. And her name is Mishka, which in Russian means bear. So she looks like a little bear. There you go. And we are Ukrainian. So that is why she named him Mishka, or her Mishka. Now Mishka is my dog, clearly.
Right. What kind of dog is Mishka?
And Mishka's a rescue. So she is pit bull. I think she mostly looks pit bull, but she's a mix. She's got some Labrador in her black lab. So yeah, she's just the best dog ever.
Okay, and if anybody else is interested in a reading, please go ahead and post your question in chat. Yes, dogs are wonderful.
Yep. I have 2 cats also. Those are my other daughters. Yeah, she moved out of the country and could not take the cats with her. So
Right.
that makes some sense. She lives in Australia.
That does make some sense.
Yes. So I've got both my daughters' pets.
Yes, that's what us moms do.
Right.
We wind up with the pets that nobody else can keep because we're the moms.
That's right. Just a couple of moms.
Yep. And does anyone else have a question for us? So how long have you been reading tarot?
Well, that's a loaded question. So a long time ago, but publicly since 2015, since I established my business. Before that, for myself, I use my psychic abilities for myself and maybe for friends and family, depending, and mostly I kind of worked back in the day with my knowing, my intuition. But with the cards, it's so much fun. It really is. I do enjoy it. And I know you do too, Mary, because you have a deck and we're doing this.
Exactly. Yes, I enjoy doing it. It is fun to read with cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a neat tool for a psychic to have. It really is. Kind of like a pendulum. That's a tool too.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. I like my pendulum, although it's usually easier to get an answer with cards. And if anyone has a question, do go ahead and post it. We'll be happy to do a 3-card draw for you. And so, with your business, do you read online a lot or is it mostly in person?
So I am in St. Charles, Missouri, and mostly it is in person. I have a shop on Main Street, which is a very busy street here. Has a lot of little quaint shops in it. So that is where I do most of my business. However, I do have remote appointments also. So I will do both, and I work with people. One of my latest passions is I'm a retired teacher. So I wrote my own curriculum to teach psychic development, and I wrote my own curriculum to teach tarot card reading. So I teach those things along with Reiki. I teach Reiki also.
Oh, wow. So you're still teaching.
I am, and I love it. That's something I think I just have to do, and when you retire, then you've got no outlet for that. So that's when I thought, I teach Reiki already, and I'm pretty successful at that. Feedback is good. So let me figure out how I could teach people to read tarot and how I could teach people psychic development. So I separated those, did one at a time, and people love it. So I broke it down into chunks. I don't know if you remember, Mary, when you started reading, maybe it came easier to you, but for me, I found it very challenging for a while. And I think, that's why I looked back and devised strategies for people to figure out what the cards mean to them also, besides just reading a book.
Well, I read with the book for quite a while.
Right.
So it was challenging for
Yes.
me.
Yes. Yes. I
It
think all of us that do it that way.
and it was quite a while before I had I did not decide to read in public. I was drafted to read in public. Um, when a friend of mine was at the time the coordinator for Nashville Pagan Pride Day, and he said, I'm having a tarot fundraiser and you're reading for me. I'm not good enough. Nonsense. You are. You're reading for me. Okay.
Sometimes we need a nudge, Mary. Sometimes we need a nudge.
Sometimes we need a nudge, but it was quite the confidence booster because, as a matter of fact, it was good enough. People were giving me their tickets for readings and then coming up and saying, "Oh, my friend got a reading from you and said I should come get a reading from you." Oh, okay.
That's fantastic. That always feels good to have your confidence boosted when you first try anything. So that is what happened to me too. I went to a steampunk festival and read tarot. I was the only tarot reader there, and just decided to try it. And that's where I had the same thing where people would go back and tell other people, and then they would come in my line. And pretty soon I actually had a line.
Well, that is great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and hello to the people who just joined us. And if anyone has a question, please do go ahead and post it in chat. We'd be happy to take it. Or just say hi. So I have been reading publicly about 15 years now.
That's awesome. And what's your favorite, Mary? Do you like fairs?
Yeah, I generally like reading at fairs because, you've got a lot of clients right there.
It is kind of nice. It's a different feel, isn't it? And the back-to-back energy, kind of is. But then I also like having that private time one-on-one with a client where there's no background noise. So I like them both. They're just both very different. And in here in Missouri, we also locally have some events in October called Witches Night Out. Do you have those by you, Mary? Do you know what I'm speaking of?
Well, let's see. We've got some events that happen locally, like we've got Pagan Pride Day, we've got a Midsummer Fair that I missed this year, and a Yule Night Fair where you can find, vendors, readers,
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's
and
basically
we
what a
had the Galactic Expo recently.
fantastic. And just all those have that great energy.
They do.
Hmm. Yeah, I do like those.
When did you first know you have psychic abilities?
When I was a child, I knew. But what's funny is I don't know that you realize you're different than other people right away because you don't talk about those things. You just assume everybody is like this, that everybody knows things just for no reason, something. Um, and then, later, I think it was teenage years, I realized, okay, I am a little different when I saw spirit and things like that. So that's when I went, And my mom, I actually confided in my mother, and she confessed to me that she also had experiences and shared some of them with me, which made me feel more normal and less afraid and less worried about it. But I chose not to tell people that knew me, like people that I grew up with. I don't remember talking to anybody really about it and confiding in them. So, but at least I knew my mom was like that. And then I was devouring all the books I could on it, which at the time was quite limited. We have such a genre now, but back
Yeah.
then, it was so small. And most of the books I found were like ESP books or, then then came out the other books, like Shirley MacLaine's books started coming out. There was the Sylvia Brown books. There was, those other books. And then you began to read more and more and more. So I have read so many books over 40 years. So I feel like I've got a good background. So, but yes, that's just how I've always been. What about you, Mary?
Well, I would know things without knowing how I knew them, and honestly, Andre Norton was my first teacher,
Wow.
the science fiction and fantasy writer, because I learned how to ground, center, and shield from Andre Norton.
That's awesome. And how did that happen though? I mean, how did that happen?
I was reading her books, and she was a practicing witch, and she very carefully explained what to do when you felt other people's thoughts intruding on your own. And I'm like, oh, that's what you do when you're picking up what other people are thinking and feeling.
Right. Right. Well, that's awesome. So I bet she had some very good practical advice. Awesome.
She did. It's all through her books. They're fiction designed to appeal to young adults. I found it in my junior high library, and I'm sure she wrote it deliberately
Right.
for adolescents, where, frequently that's when you really start to notice your psychic abilities.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Adolescence. That seems to be when everything happens.
Yes. The pimples,
Yeah.
the odd dreams, the crushes,
The
it
insecurity.
all goes hand in hand.
Right.
And if anyone anyone's got a question for us, please do go ahead and post it. Although I'm certainly enjoying chatting with you, Kare.
Right?
So is anyone else in your family psychic?
Well, besides my mom, that I can comment on, that's about it that I can comment on. I do believe there's more, but I don't have permission. So my mom is crossed over, so I feel like it's okay.
Right. Right. Of course, you wouldn't want to comment without anybody's permission. Of course not. You wouldn't, we would never do that. But
What about you, Mary? Is anybody else in your family psychic? Uh-oh.
oh yes. Uh, one of my grandkids knew that their kindergarten teacher was pregnant before the teacher did.
Oh my goodness.
Made a comment about the baby in her belly. Oh no, honey. And my daughter's, bouncing her younger sister and said, well, I just had this one. And she's still kind of talking about babies and pregnancy. And she said, oh, it's okay. Nope. She was pregnant.
Wow. That's amazing.
It is.
That's happened to me reading people's cards. Has that happened to you too, Mary?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's always pretty amazing or thrilling, I guess, when you connect with that and you predict a pregnancy and then 9 months later they email you a picture of the baby that you said was coming or yes, I think that's pretty amazing. I had somebody and I think it was just about 9 months because it was at a witch's night out and those are in October. So I can't remember the exact date, but it was at a witch's night out and I'm pretty good with babies. And I just told her, I think this is a time that you're very fertile. I think there's a high possibility that you're going to have a baby, and she, of course, denied it. Like, no, I don't think so. And all of that. And that's okay. I just go ahead. I'm just going to read the cards. And
right.
that July, she gave birth. So, yeah.
Yep. Don't argue with the cards.
Right. Don't argue with the cards. That's right. Don't argue with the cards.
Speaking of don't argue with the cards, I was reading at a fundraiser and I had someone tell me she just disagreed with my reading. Well, I can only tell you what the cards say. I'm sorry. And so she went and bought another ticket.
Okay.
And I'm reading for someone else, and she sits down at the person next to me. And we're winding down at this point. So I'm just kind of putting my cards up and straightening up my tickets and so forth. And I'm trying not to pay any attention, except I couldn't help but noticing the person reading for her was pulling a lot of the same cards I had.
There you go.
And basically came to about the same conclusion.
I do hear that a lot at fairs, don't you? Because people typically, and I encourage them, when you go to a fair, go to more than one reading or have some fun. We're all there. So go have some fun, get a few readings. And they frequently will.
Different kinds of readings. Yes, get a tea leaf reading, get a tarot reading.
But the theme is always, it seems to be always the same. They come back and they go, they said just what you said, or after I read, that's basically what I just heard from so-and-so. Well, then that's perfect. Then how much more confirmation do you need? That's good.
Yes.
Sometimes people need that. And that's okay. It's entertaining for me. I enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun. So
it is a lot of fun. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I do see some more people have popped in, so if anyone has a question, do go ahead and post it. And again, if you would like to contact Kare for Reiki, you can do that at facebook.com, Reiki and Tarot Card Readings, or just look up Kare Reiki.
Yep. Yes, I do have a website, www.karereiki.com.
And that is Kare Reiki.
Right. There you go. Thank you. Sure is.
Do you do distance Reiki or only in-person Reiki?
Yes, yes. Energy knows no time or distance. So you can do any of the things that we do over distance remotely. So absolutely, I do distance Reiki, distance mediumship, distance tarot card readings. It can all be done at a distance, but I also do in person and I love it.
So when did you know you were a medium?
That came later. That's one of the things that I added later in my business. And that's, again, remember I was talking about the psychic experiences as a teen. One of them was seeing some apparitions. And so I always knew it was there. What I didn't do was develop it. So I developed that later in life. So, but yeah, so I think there were many hints through my years, right? And so that is what I do now. I offer that too. So people come to me for all kinds of things. I still think the most popular thing, if I stopped and
Okay. Well, Kara will be back with us in a second, I'm sure. Meanwhile, if anybody wants a reading, you can go ahead and post your question in chat. Kara,
hi, sorry, did I disappear?
you disappeared for a minute, but that's okay.
Move, here I am. We're running out of time. I would love to do another tarot card reading if we have anybody out there that has a question or wants a reading.
Yes, I had just asked if anybody, we are coming up at the end of our time. If anybody has a question, if you would post it now or never. But I really want to thank you for joining me tonight, Kara. I've certainly enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you. I enjoyed chatting with you and reading with you too.
Yes, this is always a fun evening. So if anyone has a question, post it now or forever hold your peace, at least until next Thursday. All right. Well, we will sign off then. This is Reverend Mary Hawk and Care with Care Reiki. This is the Daily Spell and Tarot Thursday, and I will be back next Thursday. And my special guest will be Reverend Don Lewis. So thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Blessed be.